Thanks for staying here on Joy News Desk. Let's go back to Parliament because security has been beefed up there ahead of a possible ratification of the military cooperation agreement between Ghana and the United States of America. Joseph Opoku-Gapo is our man there and he joins us via phone. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Benny.
What are you picking up in Parliament today with regards to that cooperation agreement between the U.S. and Ghana?
So we are expecting the report any moment from now. From what we are gathering, the committee is recommending that the agreement in question, Parliament gives the green light in order for government to enter into this agreement with the United States of America government. But then there's a lot of action around here in Parliament. A lot of the members of Parliament have come, particularly on the minority side, with red armbands on their hands. Some have it on their neck. A number of the freedom fighters groups that are coming here to demand that Parliament rejects this proposal have also gathered here. In fact, some of them have been stopped at the main entrance to Parliament and are not being allowed in. Let me speak briefly to some of their leaders. Bernard Mona is the PNC, NS Project in with the NDC, just to get quick comments from them.
Okay.
What exactly are you here to push? Your representatives are already making the point. Why do you have to be here yourself, Mr. Mona?
Well, I even had to travel all the way from Tamale to be able to get here this morning to participate on this all-important assignment of ensuring that our sovereignty is not compromised for that of American sovereignty. And it's obvious to us that the government of Ghana under President Akufo-Addo is doing everything to please American interests and not Ghanaian interests. President Donald Trump has stated without fear that America first. We, on our part, are also insisting that Ghana first. Any defense cooperation that will allow unfettered access to our security bases is a threat because America has stated time without number that they do not have permanent friends, they have a permanent interest. So at any point in time when America begins to have new allies, maybe in Burkina Faso or others, whatever intelligence they gather about our country, including the stock of our armory, would be given to that particular country. And Ghana will just be like a loose cannon.
That's your
and we don't think that this is an agreement that, look, Ghanaian soldiers have stood toe-to-toe at UN missions. We have discharged our duties with excellence. We have been recognized by the UN, where the U.S. has not even been able to been recognized by their feet. How come that today we think that American security is more superior? They understand more military and security issues than our soldiers. You can't compromise on that and want to come and pass the bill. Whatever amount, whoever has taken a cut, whether the Minister for Defense has taken a cut, President Akufo-Addo has taken a cut, they should immediately return it because the people of Ghana will not accept this kind of bogus agreement before us.
Briefly, what's happening with the rest of your members out there?
Well, I don't know what the national security is up to. As you can see, they have been intimidating people and turning people away from entering even the premises of Parliament. And I think that is not fair. We all have the right to protest, and the public gallery of Parliament is open to the public. So if anybody wants to come to Parliament and witness what will go on today in protest of the president's, attempt to surrender our sovereignty to the United States, I think that we should allow Ghanaian citizens who are coming, as law-abiding citizens who are not coming to misconduct themselves and all that. So I think that I've seen that members on the minority side have moved to the gate, and I'll be joining them soon in order to allow for people who are decent and who are coming here in protest of what is going to happen in Parliament today to be allowed in.
We'll see how that goes. The House hasn't started sitting yet, although they were supposed to start at 10 o'clock. So we're waiting for proceedings to start any moment from now.
We'll touch base with you shortly. Meanwhile, Vice President of Imani African legal practitioner Kofi Bento has described the manner in which the United States is dictating the terms of the cooperation agreement to Ghana as very disrespectful. Now, he says the fact that the country has signed the agreement does not make it impossible to discontinue the deal as far as it's being deemed unhealthy for the citizenry. Mr. Bento has urged Parliament to engage the executive to renegotiate the terms of the agreement to favor Ghanaians.
Nobody will come and make that kind of request with your interest only at heart. They will do it for themselves, for their interest. That is why you see themselves exempting themselves from your law and even exempting themselves from international law. But the simple thing that I'm asking for our people to do is not to say, no, don't come here, but put the American agreement aside and then ask the simple question. If the Americans made a request that we are going to do this here, what are the terms that we Ghanaians want for them to live by here? And then let's see where we agree with the things that they are also requesting. The ones that we don't agree on, what is our position on it? Of course, like I've said, they are superpowers, so they have a bit of leverage. But truth of the matter is that we are not totally helpless in this matter. We do have a choice. And I think that if we cannot even change most, we can change some of the provisions in this agreement. So as it stands right now, it's a total disrespect to this country, and I don't think it must be agreed or voted into law as it is right now. There must be a renegotiation of some parts of it. There must be amendments of some parts of it. I believe it is possible to do that without hurting our relationship with the U.S., and I hope the parliamentarians will do that. We need the government to show that it has thought about the interests of citizens and the country first. Now, if we were going to need something in America, they will give us the terms. I have a problem with the fact that they seek to come here and then they offer us a set of terms. I think we should be thinking about what is in our interest. Is it $20 million our military needs? What else should we do to make sure our citizenry is taken care of? We ought to be giving them a set of terms. Sometimes you do things simply for respect. And I know people who dismiss that outright. But the truth of the matter is that whatever we do, it is important that we think of our interests. They cannot impose this on us. Ultimately, this will come down to what the nature of our relationship with America should be.
Well, another legal practitioner, that's Ezeana Nankoma, has, however, been advocating a proper appreciation of the legal implications of the deal before Parliament takes any concrete action.
The Constitution has given Parliament the duty, the responsibility to go through this, call the people into the committee and ask the questions, and they decide if I'm willing to go with it. Of course, I'm not a decision maker. If they make a decision and it goes all right, they will pay for it. If they make a good decision, we'll praise them. The people tasked with the power of ratification must go through the things and check the boxes and make sure T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and that what is being given to Ghana is in the best interest of Ghana. That is why they elected them. Nobody elected me. The day they make that mistake and do not do that, then they're going to hear from the people of Ghana. But for now, I'll leave the ball squarely in their court. Well, if it goes down the line of what is there with no changes, then we'll have commentary. Mr. Benson has made some points. We'll look at those comments. We'll raise those issues if those issues are not raised by Parliament. But I believe that in Parliament, considering this, it will consider all the comments that have been raised, ask questions, get the answers, be satisfied that what they have at least answers the majority of the questions before they decide to ratify or not to ratify. And more away from outright full-blown court litigation into what they call alternative dispute resolution schemes. And in more modern agreements, you will find that there's a gradual escalation of disputes. It doesn't start and end immediately in court. And so they say that because of this and the complete, rather delicate nature of it, if there are disputes, it will go through a gradual escalation and should be settled between the parties. It's a normal thing that we come across.
Okay, finally, Ace, in a word, are you for this agreement or not?
I can't. It is not that simplistic. It's not that simple and simplistic. If we negotiate something that is in the best interest of Ghana, I'm for it. If we negotiate something that is not in Ghana's best interest, I definitely am not for it.
The legal practitioner was speaking on Joy FM's Super Morning Show with Daniel Dadzi. Away from that, the 2-decade-old Right to Information Bill is likely to be laid in Parliament today following Cabinet's consideration of it last night. The passage of the bill, however, will have to wait until at least June this year. Civil society groups, including the RTI Action Campaign Group, mounted pressure on the document's passage after President Akufo-Addo committed to having the bill presented to Parliament before the end of this meeting. Majority Leader Osei Mensah-Bonsu says he expects the Communications Committee of Parliament to study and consult on the bill during during the break to enable speedy work on it when the House reconvenes in May. Meanwhile, the RTI Action Campaign Group, in a statement, called on the President to ensure the bill is presented to the House before it arises. Let's go to Parliament and speak to Joseph Apukugakwa on the status of that bill before the House today. Hello, Joseph. Well, unfortunately, we've lost him there. Well, we've got a member of the RTI Action Campaign Group joining us on phone. Hello, madam. Thanks for your time.
Hello. Good morning.
Great to have you. Are you satisfied so far? The ultimatum you gave government ends today. We are hearing that there's a possibility it will be laid before the House, but we may have to wait for the next meeting before it can be passed. Are you satisfied so far?
Well, first of all, let me say that when the president made the promise on the 6th, we were not deceived that the bill will be passed. We know that it was going to be practically impossible to pass the bill. That was why we said that the least we expect from government in terms of fulfilling that promise is to at least table the bill before Parliament. And that is our expectation, that before close of day today, the bill will be tabled in Parliament as part of the process of fulfilling that promise.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, some days ago stated that the RTI will be more meaningful if it's extended to cover the private sector. Have you considered that as an action group, and are you looking at ways of bringing that to bear in the RTI?
Speaker has not read the bill carefully. If you read the bill, it talks about public institutions disclosing information. And the definition for public institutions on the bill are every institution that performs public function or are paid from the public purse. So if you are a private company or any organization that performs a public function, for example, government wants to tar a road in any particular region and hires a contractor to do that, that contractor is subject to the RTI bill. And so with all due respect, the Speaker was wrong in that statement he made.
Thank you for your time, Ugona Ukaigwe. She's a member of the RTI Action Campaign Group. We'll be monitoring proceedings in Parliament closely, and we'll be bringing you reports on the RTI bill that is likely to be laid before the House.